DarcySews podcast, episode 1. I'm Darcy, and I sew and knit and quilt and spin, and I'm here to talk about all of those things. Since this is episode 1, I figured I'd share a little bit about myself. Like I said, I'm Darcy. I am from Charleston, South Carolina, and I live here now in Duluth, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta, with my husband and our 2 kids. I work for String and Story. You may have seen String and Story if you are also a quilter, just floating around on Instagram or YouTube. We are, Holly Ann owns it, Holly Ann Knight owns it. She teaches everybody how to quilt, how to do free motion quilting, and I'm actually taking the course this year too, which is super fun. And I also do a lot of quilting and piecing there. So I work the store open hours, I help people select fabric, and I put together samples so that people can have an easier time finding what looks good together when you're shopping online, because that can be a bit of a challenge. If you're a crafter and you're here, then you know the struggle of sometimes trying to put together colors just from looking at a screen. Behind me is a Lanterns of Hope quilt that I made from Holly Ann's pattern, from String and Story pattern, a couple years ago, and it just hangs on my wall because I like the colors. I like the pinks and the oranges and the reds. Those are like my happy colors. So on this podcast, I'm just going to be talking about the things that I'm making, the things that I want to make. Today's the last day of August, so I'm going to wrap up some of my August makes and then talk about plans for September. So let me just dive right into my current projects that I have on the needles. First up, I've been working on a cardigan. I got a needle stuck underneath the couch. Okay. And I lost the little needle, what are those things called? These things. Anyway, I started this project because I love watching the Grocery Girls. I mean, if you know the Grocery Girls, then you probably also love watching the Grocery Girls, so there's that. Anyway, they talked about this pattern. It is the After the Storm cardigan by Kelly Fowler. I have some notes down here so that I wouldn't forget to say things, because I forget to say all the things. So anyway, I got this yarn from Crafty Like That on Etsy. This was the kit that goes with the pattern that I'm guessing that they work together. I don't know. She has a lot of different colors, and I really just loved the colors. I love brown. I know that sounds weird, but I love brown as like, I don't know, a cardigan color. Like, it's a good neutral. It'll go with just basically all of the shirts that I have. And last winter, I made myself a bunch of pullover sweaters, and I realized the big hole in my wardrobe was cardigans. I was not making cardigans. So this year's goal is to make more cardigans for myself, because I like to wear them, but never make them. So this is step 1 in changing that. So here's where I am down past the last stripe now, and I just have to do, there's a shaping section in the back, and then I will be doing the ribbing and then moving on to the sleeves. So I'm actually getting pretty far. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna try it on. I'm really excited about it. I just put it on earlier, and I'm very thrilled with how it's fitting. It's a little bit tight, but this yarn did loosen up a good bit when I did my gauge swatch. Not a good bit. It loosened up appropriately. So I went down a size in the pattern. She has it, so it's a very oversized sweater, and I wanted it to be not quite as oversized. So it's actually fitting just about perfectly. It will loosen up a tiny bit in blocking, but not too much, and that's exactly what I wanted. And I also still need to do the neckband. So with all of that, it's gonna fit exactly the way that I like it. I'm just really excited about it. I've been knitting on it kind of nonstop. I tend to be sort of a monogamous knitter, and it's probably, I do knit a sock and then something else. So I'm always knitting a sock and I'm always knitting something else, but I don't really knit more than one project usually. And it's largely because I have so many crafts that I don't think I could keep up if I were knitting more than one thing. So here we are. This is my current project that I am working on. And I'm hoping to have that done pretty soon, within the next few weeks. I'd like to I would love to push through and have it finished in is it possible to finish it in a week? No, let's just say 2 weeks. Maybe, we'll see. I'm sitting here wait, how much can I knit to get this done? But I really want to start, I have so many other projects planned, and I want to start another sweater, but I also don't want to overwhelm myself because I'm working on a number of other projects for work, a number of quilts for work. So I just know that like I don't have endless hours to dedicate to my sweaters at the moment. But anyway, so that's all on that. I'm hoping that I'll get some good progress on it. I really hope that this weekend I can finish the whole bottom so that the body is totally done, except for the coming back and doing the neckband, and then I can start working on sleeves. So that's my weekend plan. Okay, so as for the sock, because as I said, I always have a sock going as well, I am working on a DRK Everyday Socks by Andrea Mowry. This one is for my husband. I actually finished the first sock and I can't find it. It's somewhere around. The yarn is from Knit Picks. It's one of the Felici sock yarn, the self-striping. So this one is like navy. It goes from like a royal blue into a navy, silver, orange, yellow, and back into silver. It's really pretty. I just started on the gusset increases, so that's where I am on this right now, but that's how it's looking. When you stretch it out, it makes more sense. When you look at it flat, when I'm knitting this, I'm like, this looks, it's very interestingly shaped. But then when you stretch it out, you're like, okay, that makes sense. It's a sock. I see it. So once you block it, I feel like that adds a lot to the look of it. I've made these for my brothers-in-law, my father, my husband. These socks are so great. They really like fit everybody. Once I have figured out the formula, I'll have, I always have some of these around for the ones that I'm making for my husband. And I'll have like our friends come on and try them on, and I'm able to like just make simple adjustments like, oh, okay, it needs to be 2 rows shorter in the foot or whatever. And then it's pretty easy to like adjust these to fit everyone because of the ribbing all the way around the foot. It fits so beautifully. So I love making these. I want to make myself some, but I need to make my children some next because they've been asking for socks. I also bought them sock yarn from Knit Picks, so you know. That's what actually needs to happen, but I have it stored here in a little project bag that I made because I love to make little project bags. This one is Ruby Star fabric on the top and the bottom, and then it's paintbrush solid fabric on the inside. So I basically always have this full of a sock, and it goes with me everywhere that I go so that I can always be knitting when I have time, when I have little seconds here and there, and that is how I get anything done, to be honest. Okay, so I have one other thing that is a current whip that is actually in hibernation that is about to come back out because I want to finish it, because I want to wear it. I started it last year during the Olympics, and here's the little swatch. So this is a Yarnspirations project. They had the yarn on sale at Michael's, I think it was, and I went. It was right before the Olympics, so I started this during the Olympics. And I fell in love with the Yarnspirations, like the sweater pattern that went with, there was one of the colorways. I just picked this colorway because they didn't have a ton left because it was on sale. I liked this colorway better than the original colorway. I like, again, purples and reds and pinks and yellows. These are like the colors that I love. So let's see, I have finished, I think the back piece, we're pulling this all out. Yes, so here's the back panel, then the neck stitches are still currently live. So that's the back. I'm just gonna hold this up. It's just big stripes. I'm working on the front piece right now. I'm like, honestly, it goes so fast because the yarn's really thick and the stripes are really big. Like the stripes, they're not too many rows. I forget how many rows there are in the stripes because it's been a minute since I've done it. But I feel like it's like a quick change, and then you do a few in the next color, in the little gray color, and then, you know, a little chunk. So it's pretty easy to, like when you're doing it, you don't feel like it's overwhelming. I'm not like, oh my gosh, and now I have to knit 1 million rows in just like stockinette flat. I don't mind knitting flat most of the time. And I don't mind seaming. I like to sew. So, you know, seaming does not bother me. So like this is fine. It's just that I put it down and then I forgot to pick it back up. Oh well. But anyway, I think I pulled down the project because I want to pick it back up because I really want to wear it. It's going to be a super fun, it's a super quirky pattern. And I liked the way that it looked a lot. And I want to wear it as soon as the weather cools off, which we're in Georgia. So we're not like, there's no threat of the weather cooling off yet. But I just need to start working on it again. That's really what it comes down to. I will link the project in the project pages down below So you can see for my Ravelry project page, Lordy, that's hard to say, exactly what I'm talking about here. But the pattern, I thought it was really fun. It's a free pattern on Yarn Inspiration, so you don't even have to use this yarn to do it. You could pick your own colors. I just think it's a really fun pattern to, it's a little quirky and fun. So that is that. And I think that's all the knitting that I have to talk about right now. I'm gonna move into quilting for a little bit. I'm working on a quilt right now. I'm testing a quilt for, lo and behold, Stitchery, Brittany. She's a lovely human. And she messaged and asked if I would test the crib size of her new pattern that's coming out called Mosaic Star. And let me tell you, it is beautiful. Okay, I can pull out, it has been shown on Instagram, so I am allowed to show this. But this is one of the blocks that I just finished it up this morning, so I have to go through it. Now the rest of the blocks will come together really quickly. I always chain piece everything that I'm doing. So like when I'm doing the half rectangle triangles, I did all of the half rectangle triangles in the whole pattern. And then that way at the end, all I have to do is just like assemble each block, and it's really, really quick, which I like. But this is gonna be part of, she has a course coming out in a few weeks called Triangle School, and this is the pattern that goes with Triangle School. And truly, like, if you are a quilter and you wanted to learn how to make every type of triangle in quilting, this is it. This is so good. Even just this pattern, which will come out at the end of November, is like great triangle practice. I mean, you have the half square triangles, half rectangle triangles, flying geese, you have the little, this guy in the middle. There's just so much, and I feel like she breaks it down into sections, so you learn each section. It's like a deep dive on making triangles and quilting. It was a beautiful pattern to follow. The course is going to be amazing. Highly recommend if you are interested in learning more about making triangles. And also, okay, so this fabric is all Paintbrush Studios here. These are some of the new colors. This is the new color Brick. I don't remember all the names of the colors on this, especially this piece it just has mixed up ones, but I'm sure it will be listed on the String and Story site. We usually make kits out of, like when we make a sample, we make kits and we sell that, so that if people want to make the exact kit or the exact quilt that we made, you can. So I will link that when it's available. It probably won't be available when I post this, but it will be available shortly thereafter. So if you are interested, follow String and Story. It will pop up very soon, but it's going to be a gorgeous quilt. This one is going to be, I think it's 36 by 36 is the crib size. It might have been a little bigger than that. Maybe it's 40 by 40. It's a big square. So that'll be a great, like, throw it on the couch kind of quilt. I love having those around. I like to have just tons of lap quilts like laying along my couch, because then everybody can grab their own quilt and we don't fight over the covers. That's important to me. So that is what I have in quilting. I have one more small quilting project. I am working on an English paper piecing project. This is just for me. And it is I'm trying to remember the pattern name. It is the Cherish Quilt by Tales of Cloth. I forgot to write that down. And it's very big pieces. So I like this type of English paper piecing because I feel like it goes fast. So here's what I have so far. There's a couple other pieces. There's a half hexagon that goes up here. And it's just coming along. I mean, you know, it's not coming along too fast. I feel like I've been focusing more on the cardigan, the After the Storm cardigan, more so than this. But once I like give this a little bit of attention, it's going to come together really quickly. Because each piece is going to be like, by the time that I'm finished with this unit, it is like the size of a dinner plate. So I'm making it smaller than the pattern originally calls for, because I have another quilt hanging bar on the other side of my fireplace over there, and I want it to hang. So I just picked the amount of hexagons that I would need to make the size, about that size of a quilt. So as you can see, it'll come along. I'm excited about it. I think after I finish the cardigan, maybe I'll start looking into that a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping to have this done in the fall, and I don't think that that's unrealistic. Usually with English paper piecing, that might have been a little bit like unrealistic, but I think For this specific pattern, it won't be. Oh, almost forgot. This pattern, the fabric is from Wyndham Fabrics. It's the Judy Jarvie line. Judy Jarvie lives in Duluth, and I know her personally, and she's lovely, so I wanted to use her fabric. It's called Summer School, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I don't have all of the pieces out here, but I'll show more next time because hopefully I'll have more pieces done. It's just so beautiful. I can hold this guy up a little closer. You have like snails and pine cones, and it's just like all things childhood and happiness. Moths, there's some beautiful acorn fabrics. It's gorgeous. I highly recommend. I'm also using, I have it back here, Aurifil. This is 2600. It's just a nice gray color. It's a great everything color. It's a great piecing color. It's a great quilting color. It's pretty, it blends into just about everything. It works with everything. So I keep this over here on my side table next to my spot on the couch so that when I am feeling motivated, I can just reach over and do a little. So that's how I get any of that done. All right, and then I have one other thing that I am sewing currently, and then that is all for my current whips. This is why I can only do one knitting project, because I'm doing 100 other types of projects. I am going to be making, out of this leftover linen from Blackbird Fabrics, the Petra shorts. So I used this to make a flowy top. I'm trying to remember the pattern that I used. I think it was a Grain Line Studio pattern. It was free for the Bernina L890. It's on the Bernina website. I think it's on the We All Sew website. And it was for the serger, the L890 serger, and they had YouTube videos that like walked you through how to use the serger. And anyway, I bought this because it was just fun, and I love linen. I sew a lot of things in linen. It's great here in the South for, you know, not being too hot. So anyway, I wanted to make some shorts, and I've printed out the whole pattern now and tiled and assembled the pattern for the Petra shorts. Now I just need to cut and sew, and it probably won't take that long. So I don't know why. I've had this done for like a minute, and I just haven't actually like cut it out and finished it, but I think I'm gonna get to that pretty soon because I want to wear it before the weather changes, so I have a while still. If I finish it up this weekend, then I will be able to wear it all through like September and October, which would be perfect. There is, oh, I forgot, there is one other project that I'm in the middle of. I've already cut it. It's a CeeLo top, no, CeeLo dress. I've done the CeeLo top. This is a CeeLo dress, and this is by Closet Core Patterns. The Petra pants are also Closet Core. And this one is in, it looks black on the screen, but it's actually like, it's like an indigo color, like dark jean denim color. It's a sprout woven, which is a fabric we carry at String and Story. We're going to be getting in the plaids, the sprout woven plaids soon, which I'm really excited about. But anyway, that's this, and it's cut, and it just needs to be sewed. So there's nothing more to say on that. Okay, so that wraps up everything that I have going in August. And now let's talk about some September plans. So on the first thing on my September plans, I want to finish all of my current projects. I just need to like knock all this stuff out so that I can move on to the next stuff. So that's number one on the list. We'll see if I actually do it. Then once that is done, I have some things. I have been working through my yarn stash and my fabric stash. I'm trying to keep minimal stash. Obviously I work at a fabric store, so if I need fabric, I can buy it while I'm there. It's a lovely luxury to have that ability to do. So I really just don't need to be keeping mounds of fabric the way that I have been, which, I mean, I think we've all been there. I don't know. Also, if you're a person that loves to keep stash, you do that. That is wonderful. I'm like not bashing stash. I go through phases in my life where like I want it and need it, and then phases where I use it all and try to get rid of it, and then I start over again. So right now it has been a de-stashing time for about the last 2 years. I've really been trying to like work through what I have and add things minimally and keep working through what I have. So the first thing up is I want to make a weekender light using all of this stashed fabric here. This is a Knit Picks palette twist. So it is like this lovely, like marled, it's a, like a tan gray, not like a, it's not a cool, it's a warm gray with white. And it's really, really pretty. I have I have enough of it to make, I have more over there, but I have enough to make a weekender light. I'm gonna do it. I feel like that's gonna be a really versatile piece, especially living in the South where it's not so cold. So that just needs to that needs to happen now. So that is the first plan for September. I think once I finish my After the Storm cardigan, weekender light's coming up. The next thing is something that I actually started a long time ago. I have it over here. And then I pulled it off the needles and now I'm ready to like do it. So I have this yarn. This is also from Knit Picks. I have quite a lot in my stash from Knit Picks. This one is the Swish DK weight in the color Allspice. And it is gonna be for a cabled sweater for my husband. I think I'm going to be using the Westfall pullover. I forgot to write down who that is by, but it'll be linked down below. The Westfall pullover, and it'll be in this yarn. So, I mean, not a whole lot else to say. I'd started it, I have a Ravelry page for it already. I started it a long time ago. When I first started knitting, I knit backwards. I knit mirror image. I'm a lefty. I taught myself to knit. I was watching videos, I was used to crocheting, and so I just mirror imaged what everybody was doing and I knit backwards. And that worked for a while, and people thought it looked crazy, but I met other left-handed knitters and it was really cool. But then I started getting really bad hand pain in my left hand because I was doing absolutely everything with my left hand. So about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I ended up getting such bad hand pain that I couldn't do anything. I don't know exactly what is going on. I think it is, they were saying early signs of carpal tunnel, and I have to wear wrist brace when I sleep at night. Anyway, I retaught myself to knit entirely right-handed, so I knit English right-handed. And then that way I'm just putting all of my knitting, what is the word I'm looking for? Like, all of the word is gonna come to me. All of the wear and tear from knitting is going on my right hand, which works well for me because I'm left-handed, so basically all of my other life wear and tear goes onto my left hand. And so it just kind of balances things. I don't have any hand pain. I take breaks from doing this if this starts to feel at all sore. I stop knitting and I do something else that uses my left hand. And so it's just nice to be able to go back and forth because, it helps. It just helps spread out the wear and tear on my body. So here we are. I mean, I probably will eventually also add continental style to my toolbox, I guess, for a lack of a better word, just so that I have a lot of options for how I knit and how my hands are feeling and how I want to do projects. But for right now, this is working. So that is why I pulled this off that was a very long story, like long walk to water. That is why this is no longer on the needles. I frogged it. I want to come back to it now that I am a confident right-hand knitter. So I'm going to put that back down. But that is that. As far as my sewing plans for September, and sewing stuff is a lot faster. Like I feel like cutting out patterns is the hardest part. Assembling, especially if you do PDF patterns, assembling the patterns and then cutting them out is the hardest part. So once that's done, it's pretty snappy from there. I am wearing the Burnside bibs right now in linen, and I made them as shorts. There you go, you can see my leg. And I love these. I wear these like all the time. I made the version that has the side zipper on it. I like that version. I think it fits really well. I have a wider hip and butt area than I do chest, torso area. So I liked that it was a little more fitted, so it wasn't just so much volume down below, but I did cut the size that would fit my hips, and I just figured the top would just fit because you pull it tight. So that worked well. I want to make it in long pants, probably linen again. I think it'll work well for the fall and for the spring here in the South. I don't know exactly what color yet, but I'm going to go shopping for some linen pretty soon. I'm probably leaning towards an indigo-y jean color. I feel like that'll be really versatile, especially as we're going into like cooler weather here. That'll look really nice with like sweaters and the works. So once I have like a few basic pairs, then I tend to make stuff that's a little more like, you know, colorful and different, like, but I need my like workhorse pieces first. So this is a good workhorse piece. I like this olive green color. I want to do something a little different for my long pants version, but that is coming. The next thing, I don't own this pattern and I haven't made it, but I've been seeing a lot about it on Instagram, is the Hinderland dress by So Liberated. And they have a course that just came out and I'm dying to take the course. So maybe I'll do that. But she goes into a lot of like breaking down pattern design and like how to, you know, it's a lot of like pattern drafting, not literal pattern drafting, but you know, pattern drafting skills, how to change patterns to really fit you. So I really want to make it either in a flannel for the cooler weather, or maybe that like the sprouts woven. So it is like this fabric that it has like the little crosses on it. It's kind of a loose weave fabric. It's really nice. I don't know if you can see the crosses, but it has little X's all the way through the fabric. They're coming out with the plaids like I had mentioned before, so I might make that Hinderland dress in the sprouts plaid. That would be really nice. I could do both, honestly. And that is all that I have as far as my plans. I do want to make a sweater for my son, and I have some yarn that I bought for a sweater for him a little while ago, so as long as there's enough still, since he has gotten bigger, I will be doing that as well. So the last section that I just wanted to touch on is a little bit of Christmas crafting. And I know, like, by the time you're watching this, it's early September and people are like, it is not Christmas. It is not Christmas. But as a crafter, it takes me a lot of time to make the things that I make for the family that I have. So I'm starting to think about it now. These are like my early preliminary plans. I always make Ed and his brothers something knitted. One year I made them Weasley sweaters. And this year I think I'm gonna make them hats. My brother-in-law, the middle brother, my husband's the oldest, and then the middle brother, he lives in Boston. So he always appreciates lots of the wool things that I make. So I'm gonna be making an old port hat, one for each of them, plus one for their father. So that's 4 hats. So 4 Struble Boy hats. And then Thomas, who lives in Boston, also asked me to make him some more mittens. One of the first things I ever made them when I started knitting was the Juris mitts, I believe it's called. Pattern will be linked below. I just have the one that I knit for my husband. So let me just slide this on really fast. So it has like the little cover. As he lives in Boston, he walks to work and stuff, and he liked that you could still, like, you know, he could like type on his phone, whatever, and still have like access to his hands, but then also be warm and covered. So he asked me to make these again in red. I think I made him a blue pair. Blue's his favorite color, but he also has a black peacoat and he wanted something that matched the black peacoat. So I'm gonna make him some red ones. And then I'm also looking for, I was gonna make my children have been really into Pokemon, and I wanted to make them an Pokemon Amigurumi. So if anybody knows any good patterns, I don't have anything to go on that. I just know that I want to do that. If you are watching this and you are like, I know of a great Pokemon Amigurumi pattern, please let me know, because they would absolutely freak out if if they opened it up and got that. I made them these little knitted kitties one year for Christmas, and they played with them. They still play with them. They've played with them nonstop. So I know that whatever I make them will be like greatly appreciated and loved. So that is why they get the things that they get, because they love and use the things that I make, and I love that. I love that for everybody. So that's it. I think that is all that I have today. If you watched to the end, I'm so thankful. I'm excited to be able to like share a little bit. As I mentioned, I work for String and Story, and I get to be on her lives, and I get to talk about a lot of quilting projects there, but I really want to scratch the itch of just sharing a lot of the other projects of things that I make at home and things that I love to do. And you know, I am excited to be a part of a community of people that love to share and craft and show things off, and I'm just thankful to be here. So anyway, I hope you have a lovely day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.